The Lord of Lamadon has asked you to assist him in discovering the whereabouts of his lost son, Derefin. He hasn't been seen for days, and his father fears he may be in grave peril. Your search has led you to the Blackroot Vale, where the people live in dread of the dead men of Dunharrow. Hello, and welcome back to Line Unbroken, my series in which I'm playing through each of the scenarios of the Lord of the Rings living card game in turn, using only cards which were available at the time of the release, in imitation of the existing LTR LCG progression series. Here I'm playing the third GenCon scenario from GenCon 2013, the Stone of Erech. These are my starting hands. Took a mulligan on deck 2 and got a bit better. Light of Arnor at least. This is an incredibly good opening hand for this deck. So over here, set up to make Tarlang's Neck the active location. Tarlang's Neck, 3 threat, 6 quest points. While Tarlang's Neck is the active location it gains. Forced. At the beginning of the encounter phase, the players must either immediately end the encounter phase, or the first player must engage all enemies in the staging area. Set Derefin, the Lord of the Dead, the Stone of Erech, and the 3 Knight objectives aside out of play. Shuffle the encounter deck. Place Eventide into play next to the current quest. So this is the first of the 3 Knight objectives, which represent how far through the night it is. The later it gets, the more danger we are in from the dead men of Dunharrow. And as you can see, at the end of the round, place a progress, and if there are 4 or more, we add this to the victory display and move on to the next one. And when it gets to midnight, it just raises our threat for the progress on it. So, as you approach, the people of the Morthond Vale snuff their candle lights and shut their doors. Some claim they saw a young boy heading towards the hill of Erech, but they are too afraid to leave their homes. You have little time to spare. When revealed, reveal 1 encounter card per player, adding them to the staging area. Players cannot defeat the stage while Tarlang's Neck is in play. So we reveal... Okay, all characters get -1 willpower until the end of the round. That is not a great start. And Shadow of Dwimorberg. That's an okay starting card to have. Only 1 threat, since we're still on Eventide. And let's begin the first round. Okay. So, first things first, we definitely want Steward of Gondor on Balin. And then, let's see, let's just play We Are Not Idle to draw a card. Now it's a question of whether I want to have the Hobbit Cloak or King Under the Mountain. I think I'll take King Under the Mountain. And immediately use it to look at the top 2. Okay, Fast Hitch or Asphalloth. I'm going to take the Fast Hitch. There are 2 more copies of Asphalloth. Unfortunately, of course, I have a good harvest in hand, so I can get this down as soon as I feel like it. Over here, I will naturally play Light of Valinor onto Glorfindel, and that will be it. So, remembering that everyone has -1 willpower, there is only 1 threat in the staging area. So let's quest for 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, I guess. Here we go, the Haunted Valley. While this location is in the staging area, already heroes lose all lore, leadership, spirit, and tactics icons. Planning action exalt hero, any player may trigger this action. And okay, another -1 willpower for everyone. I could cancel that, but to be honest, it's probably not that significant. So there's now 3 threat in the staging area, and I'm now questing for 2. So each deck goes up by 1 threat. Actually, no, let's not. Let's play this Elrond's Council, lower this deck's threat by 3, and increase my willpower by 1. So I break even. It doesn't matter which of these I choose to do, because there are no enemies in play. So that's it for the round. At the end of the round, place 1 progress on Eventide, and we begin again. Perhaps not the best start, but it certainly could have been worse. Right, now already heroes have no resource icons. So what I'm going to do is I am going to use the planning action to exhaust a hero, exhausting Frodo. Thus, because he's exhausted, he gets his spirit icon back. So I can spend these 2 resources on a West Road Traveller, and I'm going to make Haunted Valley the active location, and move Tarlang's Neck back into the staging area. It's slightly more threat, but now I can spend my resources freely. And I could play the Wandering Took, but I don't know that I want to. Let's trigger Steward and King. Alright, the only purpose of We Are Not Idle is to make the deck smaller, so I'll take Build a Pony. Out of Sight is unlikely to be that significant, but it's well enough to be prepared for it. So let's, oh yeah, okay, let's play Campfire Tales. Okay, so that being the case, I will pay 1 for the Sylvan Refugee. Now let's play Build a Pony for free. Pay 1 to put a Hobbit Cloak onto Sam. And now the question becomes, how bothered am I about this fast hitch? Of course, I do have 2 more copies of Good Harvest with which to play the other 2 fast hitches and Asphalon. But still, it could be worth waiting so that I can get more bang for my buck with the Good Harvest. Since there are currently no enemies in play, and that's the main reason that I want readying, I think we'll just see how it goes. So, there's 4 threat in the staging area. Let's quest for 2, 4, 6, 9, 12, 13. Let's get that. Okay, return the topmost undead enemy in the discard pile to the staging area. I don't think there is one. Nope, there are just 2 copies of Murmurs of Dread. So that whiffs. And Midnight Throng. Starting with the first player, each player must search the encounter deck and discard pile for an undead enemy, reveal it, and add it to the staging area. Shuffle the encounter deck, and at midnight this effect cannot be cancelled, but we are not at midnight yet. So, how bothered am I? They are revealed. It's important to bear in mind, so this guy would trigger his thing, or equally the enemy that surges would trigger his surge. As it stands currently, I've added 2 threat to the staging area. Yeah, I think I'm going to play a test of will on this. So I make 7 progress. Explore the Haunted Valley. And, okay, now this is the thing. If I travel to Tarlang's Neck, then I get stuck in the situation where either this deck has to engage all the enemies, or I end the encounter phase. Which is annoying, because really it's this deck that I want to take on the Restless Dead. So I guess I'll travel to the Shadow of Dwimorberg so that I can do that. Oh, nope, it doesn't ready Sam. His engagement cost is 12. Here's where a fast hit would come in handy, but never mind. Actually, no. I want to go to Tarlang's Neck, and then I will let the Restless Dead engage here. Now, I could feint this guy, and actually, as much as I could take the threat on Frodo, well, I suppose I could just take damage on Glorfindel if the shadow isn't too bad. Take my willpower, but Glorfindel's willpower is the same as his attack, so it makes no difference either way. And off at the end of the round I place another progress on Eventide, and we control N up again. Alright, Steward King. What is it? I'll take Halfling Determination. Alright, let's put this Rivendell bow onto Glorfindel. Let's pay 4 for... I'm actually going to go with Eristor first, and I'll trigger him discarding Faramir to draw a card, because we are not idle, which I will play to draw another card. Alright. Now I think this is worth using a good harvest named Law to put a fast hitch onto Sam and Asphalloth onto Glorfindel. I still have a resource for a feint or a Halfling Determination if I really want one. So, there's one threat in the staging area. Let's quest for 3, 4, 6, 9, 11, 13, 15. Could hold back something a bit more. Maybe I hold back the refugee. I need 8 progress actually. So no, we'll stick with 15. Groping Horror. First player must choose skip the next travel phase, or each player must pass his hand to the player on his left. Discard your hand instead if you are the only player in the game. So I will choose to skip the next travel phase, because these leadership and tactics cards would be useless to the spirit deck, and these spirit cards would be useless to the leadership tactics deck, and I forgot to actually plan for this deck. So I'll play that good meal, and that'll be that. So I'm skipping the next travel phase, and a Shadow Host Captain. So for threat, I'm making 11 progress. 5, 6. This goes to the victory display. As you draw closer to the Stone of Erech, a thick fog rolls in. You think you can see Derufin, fearfully clutching his father's sword and trying to communicate with the spirits. Despite his childlike courage, he has meddled with forces beyond his reckoning. You must reach the Stone of Erech and rescue him before it is too late. When revealed, add the Stone of Erech to the staging area and attach Derufin to it. So, Stone of Erech has X threat, where X is twice the number of players in the game. It's immune to player card effects. And while it's the active location, characters with less than 2 willpower cannot ready. And the travel effect is to exhaust each character with less than 2 willpower. Now, I cannot travel. Long had the terror of the dead lain upon that hill and upon the empty fields about it, for upon the top stood a black stone, round as a great globe, the height of a man, though its half was buried in the ground. Forced. At the beginning of each round, the players must choose. Each player skips the next planning phase, or heroes do not collect resources during the resource phase this round. And yes, fourth. After the players travel to the Stone of Erech, the first player gains control of Derufin. His only other effects are that if he leaves play, we lose the game, and his willpower gets worse as we progress through the night. Now, as I said, I cannot travel because I have to skip the next travel phase. I will, however, exhaust Asphalon to put 2 progress on the Shadow of Dwimmelberg. And now, let's deal with this Shadow Host Captain. I'll engage him here, which readies Sam, since his engagement cost is well over my threat. Sam is now defending for 4, including the Hobbit Cloak. So he takes no damage. I'll ready him up. He is attacking with 4 willpower. 6, 8. Total of 8 willpower. Glorfindel can swing at ranged, getting me up to 11. The Shadow Host Captain is very dead. Place another progress on Eventide. And now, at the beginning of the round, so I'll do it at the end of this round, I have to choose if I want to not have planning or not gain resources. I suppose, technically, I'm not sure if technically I get to draw my card for the new round before finding out. So actually I will hit Control R, and then I'm going to just exhaust Steward and King Under the Mountain, and let's actually ditch the Feint and play Campfire Tales. Alright, so now let's gain resources but skip planning. So Control N. Okay, got a resourceful ready to go. It's handy. I have no planning phase, however. I will use Aerostore to discard Faramir and draw a Hobbit Cloak. So now there is 5 threat in the staging area, and we quest for 2, 4, 6, 9, 12, 13, 15 again, I think. Reveal Restless Dead. Okay, return the topmost undead enemy in the discard pile to the staging area, which is a Shadow Host Captain. And the second card, Shadow Man. When revealed, players cannot play events until the end of the round. So I've added 7 threat to the staging area. I only make 3 progress. I can now travel, which would be quite a good idea. I will exhaust Asphalt to put 2 more progress on here, which gets me 1 more on the quest. And I will travel to the Stone of Erech, at which point the first player takes control of Derafin. He currently still has his full 3 willpower, because we're still on Eventide. And now, the only character with less than 2 willpower on the board is Bill the Pony. So Bill the Pony cannot ready, but everyone else can, and since Bill is already exhausted, I don't need to exhaust him now. So I don't have to engage the Shadow Host Captain or the Shadow Man. I definitely want to take at least one of them. Let's see. So potentially, if Frodo defends, then I have 6 willpower to attack with, which would kill a Shadow Man. Restless Dead don't really need help with, of course Glorfindel is ranged. So, okay, I want Restless Dead here. And then the Shadow Host Captain is more threat. Because, yeah, I can't take both. But the Shadow Man, I will hit his engagement cost next round. So it's better to take him now while he's still above my engagement cost. Do that. Shadows. Frodo will defend this. If a defending character has 0 willpower, which he does not, I will take 1 threat instead of 1 damage. Sam will defend here. He has 4 defense, given his ability and the Hobbit Cloak, so no damage. Derafin can take down the Restless Dead, and I can massively overkill the Shadow Man. 2, 6, 8, 11. Now Derafin moves over. I place progress here. There are 4 progress, so I have to Eventide to the victory display and replace it with Dusk. So Derafin now has -1 willpower. He's down to 2. And this time I am going to not gain resources, but have a planning phase. I can still get resources from Steward, however. Alright, let's take a good harvest and discard the spare Steward. So let's see Yeah, actually, since I have a spare Hobbit cloak, I can put it on Frodo. Give Glorfindel a Rivendell blade. Faramir could be a reasonable play, but I might want to hold on to Balin's resources for shadow cancellation. And I think I stand decent chances of pushing through to stage 3 this round, at which point I will no longer have to choose between planning and resources, but can have both as normal. So over here, well, obviously I want resourceful, which I'll put onto Pippin. Pay 2 for Arwen. Pay 1 for a Sylvan Refugee. And pay 2 for a Wandering Took. Build a pony is not ready. It doesn't say that characters with less than 2 willpower cannot be ready, so since the Wandering Took has only just now entered play, he is ready, but once he exhausts, he's done until the Stone of Erech is explored. So, let's quest 3, 6, 8, 11, 13, 15, targeting Sam, 16, 18, 20. There's only 3 threat in the staging area. I need 7 progress to advance. Yep, that seems reasonable. So, a Whisperer, which has +1 threat because it is dusk. And Groping Horror. Skip the next travel phase or pass hands to the left. I will skip the next travel phase. Especially since there are no locations in play other than the Stone of Erech. So that's up to 6 threat. I make 14 progress. Stone of Erech goes to the victory display, and I advance to stage 3. Your presence here has angered the Shadow Host, and the Lord of the Dead has summoned his horde to ensure none escape the Blackroot Vale alive. When revealed, starting with the first player, each player searches the encounter deck and discard pile for 1 Oathbreaker enemy, reveals it and adds it to the staging area. Add the Lord of the Dead to the staging area. Shuffle the encounter deck. So, encounter deck and discard pile. Yeah, so these guys surge, so I don't want to take them. These guys bring additional guys out of the discard pile, so I don't want them. Let's just check the discard pile. Yeah, there are plenty of enemies in the discard pile. This guy stops me playing events, and his engagement cost is right on this deck's threat. So, what I really want are Whisperers. They tend to be the nice, generic choice. So 2 Whisperers, and we add the Lord of the Dead to the staging area. Now, this is a thing which I've seen what I'm pretty sure are misconceptions about. It says midnight battle, so that in fact means that the quest becomes a battle if you're at midnight. Since I'm still at dusk, it's still regular questing. I'm fairly sure about this. So, players cannot place progress on this stage unless they control Derufin, which is fine because I do. If the players defeat this stage, they have escaped the Blackroot Vale with Derufin and won the game. So, obviously I need to bring down 2 of these enemies. I cannot bring down more because of the engagement costs. Well, I could transfer this Wandering Took over here to increase this deck's threat by 3, so they could engage the Lord of the Dead. But I don't think that I want to do that, since while you are engaged with the Lord of the Dead, treat all printed text boxes on characters you control as if they were blank. I mean, it's... Okay, so I would need 12 willpower to kill the Lord of the Dead, which I kind of want to do regardless. So I can't get 12 willpower from just this deck. But if I bring him down here... Okay, so if this deck optionally engages something first, then that would ready Sam, and he has the fast hitch. So he would then be at 4 willpower, 6, 8, 11, reducing defense by 2, and I can kill the Lord of the Dead. That seems like a solid plan. Yeah, whatever the other thing I engage is, I won't be able to kill that. No, I won't be able to kill that. Well, yeah, I suppose I could. Since I'm going to win shortly, but I don't necessarily have to. So they're all 3 threats. So let's optionally engage the Whisperer, which readies Sam and gives him +1 to all of his stats. And then let's have this deck also optionally engage a Whisperer. And then let's transfer the Wandering Took over here, increasing the threat by 3 and decreasing threat by 3. Which means that now this deck, being at 30 threat, will be engaged by the Lord of the Dead. So now, all text boxes are blank. Except for traits. So, but of course Sam already got his boost before that happened. So let's play Faint on Lord of the Dead, since he's not immune to player card effects. And then let's have Sam defend against the Whisperer. But since its engagement cost is above my threat, he is defending for 5, including the boost from Arwen as well, and takes no damage. Over here, Frodo will defend. He's defending for 4 with the Hobbit Cloak. Takes no damage. So now 2, 6, 8, 11, reducing defense by 2. Yes, 11 against 1 defense and 9 hit points. The Lord of the Dead is dead. And now, because I am no longer engaged with the Lord of the Dead, I can trigger Merry to ready another character that participated in that attack. So I will ready Glorfindel, who can then attack with the West Road Traveller against this Whisperer for a total of 5, reducing defense by 2. Derafin comes back over here. I add a progress to Dusk. And we move into a new round. Exhaust Steward and King. Don't really need the second Rivendell Blade, so let's take Blade Gondolin instead. Play Campfire Tales. Get an extra resource from Resourceful, of course. Play down another good meal, just in case I actually need it. I can play Gandalf. Yeah. I'm going to play Gandalf. Because I think I'm just going to win the quest this round. Which is a tad anticlimactic. Alright. 5 threat in the staging area. That's quest for 2. 5, 7, 8, 10, 11, 13, 15, 18, 20, 22, 26, and 28, 30, 32. Driven by fear. The first player attaches Driven by Fear to a hero he controls. Cancel the condition attachment with the text attached to character's willpower is reduced to 0. Treat attached character's text box as if it was blank, except for traits. I don't have a test of will, or the resources to play one. So, never mind. Pippin will have 0 willpower and a blank text box. It's not like he was that much use anyway. And the Relic from the Dark Years, which doesn't even surge. Though, I mean, it's not much use as objectives go, but it's still useful in that it's a card which does nothing. So, 30 willpower against... Oh no, sorry, 6 threat, plus 1 threat to the Whisperers, because it's dusk. I am making 24 progress out of 14. Oh, and I didn't exhaust Faramir. So yeah, that worked. Even if it had been the battle quest, I still would have been questing for 4, 5, 8, 9, 10. Well, I could have sent Faramir if it was a battle. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 if I sent Faramir. And then it would have taken me another round after fighting these guys, but... Oh, and I still had Halfling Determination available as well. That was a lot easier than I expected. This definitely was kind of the easiest of the GenCon quests on release, I think, but I didn't expect it to be that easy. I was able to avoid most of the nasty stuff. The fact that I had, I think there may be only 2 copies of Murmurs of Dread in the encounter deck, so it was like when I did the Lonely Mountain and got both copies of Weighed Down in the first round, that it messed up that one round, but it meant that a horrible effect was just gone for the rest of the game. Then yeah, like the Haunted Valley can be awful, but I was able to just quickly swap it out and explore it, and I never saw another one. Groping Horror, of course, I just skipped the next travel phase every time. Didn't see a lot of locations anyway. What was left in the encounter deck? Yeah, nothing that seems particularly bad, to be honest. Didn't really get to do everything that decks were intended to do. So yeah, all these lore cards that I was intending to pay for with a good harvest were just hiding near the bottom of the deck. Yeah, I found the one fast hitch, and I suppose 2 copies of Asphalloth. But still, 6. Yeah, 6 of those 9 cards in the bottom 19 cards of the deck. Didn't actually get to try out Ally Denethor. It would have been useful. My 1 copy of Path of Need was at the very bottom of the deck. And over here, yeah, it's a slight issue with this sort of approach that the whole Hobbit Pipe idea. The Hobbit Pipes are pretty good for card draw if you're in a deck like this that thrives on threat reduction, but you need to draw the pipes first. So maybe I should have put in Ancient Mathoms, though I didn't see that many locations, as I mentioned. But then it didn't really matter that much, because even if I wasn't drawing super fast, everything I was seeing was stuff that was useful. I just loaded up on tons of willpower and rushed through the quest. Which remains a pretty viable strategy. So yeah, this completely concludes the Against the Shadow cycle. After this, I will obviously be moving on to the Voice of Isengard and the Ringmaker and other things. So, wrap up post for Against the Shadow will be coming soon. Thank you for watching this, and goodbye.